Hello. We should now be live. I believe we're live. I'm not going to lie, have not used this tool properly before. So if we get anything that we shouldn't be getting, I apologize. This is just the way these live streams work. Probably actually no one here at the moment, probably just talking to myself. So probably should get the old links out to everybody. Make sure that everyone knows that we are here. Regardless of whether you're watching this live or whether you are watching this in the coming days, this is the E3 build-up show. The purpose of this really is just so that we can start talking about what we're going to see over the next few days. And E3 is something that I am always quite excited for. I have to say I do obviously like all the sort of presentations. So I've been to Gamescom. I have been to Eurogamer, which is now branded as EGX. But I've never actually been to E3. But the thing with E3 is it's all sort of like a mixture between business and for the gamers, the consumers, me and you. Now, this is a little bit different because it means that obviously we need to we need to know about the games that are coming up so we can show our interest, so that the potential profits for people and things like that are going to actually happen. But if we forget about that just for a second, with the consumers, obviously we want to see the games, but everyone else, the main people, the stakeholders in the companies, they want to see things that we like so that they can then further invest in these companies. So you get a very interesting show, really, and you get one that's just as much about just as much for businesses than it is for the actual consumers themselves. And of course, this is mainly done by large press conferences that are now broadcast to everywhere in the world. Sometimes, obviously, we get a few hitches here and there. But when it works well, it really does work well. It's great if you grab yourself a beer, if you can grab yourself a beer, just sit back in your chair and relax. And all the time you're doing this, you get to see some great new games. And obviously, pre-E3 build-up, we get a lot of leaks. And to be honest, I just kind of stay away from them just because it kind of does ruin the fun a little bit when this happens. But regardless, moving on. The schedule for today is we're just basically be talking about the Fallout, well, literally the Fallout 4 trailer that came out a couple of, well, it was about a week ago today. And then we've got press conferences. The first one being it's the Bethesda one. It's the first one. But from the big three, we've got Microsoft, Sony, and Nintendo. We've also got, for the first time ever, a PC gaming show as well, which should be pretty damn interesting. I know they've been teasing it for a few years that they want to make it happen. Wouldn't it be good? You'd have all these people come out on stage and talk about things like graphics cards and all this stuff up there. Somewhere you can see behind me. All of that great PC stuff that we don't often get to see. So let's start with the well, actually, before we start with the whole E3 thing, which obviously this is all about, there was in the news, I believe it was yesterday, we'll get that out of the way straight away, that basically YouTube is launching a Twitch competitor, which they obviously should have done for a long time. At the moment, we've got what we've got now, which is, of course, this Hangouts live on-air based system. And you can do a few things where you use external applications, but there's not really a Twitch at the moment on YouTube. Not one that people choose, at least over Twitch anyway. So it's called YouTube Gaming, and essentially it is going to change the way that we view gaming content on YouTube. And of course, this is very interesting to me, mainly because I do a weekly casual play video, and I've always thought this would be better live. And now I should be able to do it live, which should be pretty cool. I don't know when this is actually going to start. They've said summer. But regardless of that, I will obviously let you know nearer the time and should be doing some proper live gaming streams. So Fallout 4, I will start by saying, and this will cause fallout, I actually never got around to playing Fallout 3. I know, I'm really sorry. I'm really sorry about that. Yeah, it's just, to be honest, it wasn't that I didn't think I'd like it. It's not that I avoided it or anything like that. It's because basically I think I got first into that sort of next generation gaming, maybe not really a tad late as such, but I didn't get into it at the same time as everyone else was. And the main thing that this caused, and I am all out of drink, that is a disaster area. Got another empty. I've got a tiniest amount that's not even worth bothering with. I got into it a bit late, and so I didn't actually ever end up playing Fallout 3. And then people start ruining stuff, and that happens at the end and things like that. And I just never got around to it. So it's, it's the same thing really as the whole Half-Life thing. Again, that was a bit before my time as well. Obviously, I played it now. But at the time, when it first came out, I obviously wasn't part of the whole sort of buzz. So this is what's happened here. I'm not really part of the buzz, as it were, with Fallout 4. That's not to say I'm not excited about it. I mean, obviously, I know from what everyone else has said is that it's a pretty amazing game, and Fallout 4 should be a pretty amazing game. But the thing is, a lot of people are all going out and saying that the graphics look a bit lame and things like that, and it could just well be what has happened. If I do the old screen share, see if that will work for you. I don't know whether that's going to work or not. I'll leave it like that. The whole graphics thing. So the graphics don't look as good as people would want them to. But if we remember back to a load of other E3 reveals, we of course remember that the graphics don't always turn out the way we wanted them to. And it does depend on the game, I mean, because this happened with Far Cry 3 as well. If you watch the original E3 trailer of that was particularly bad as well. It was amazing, standout graphics at the time when the trailer came out, and then by the time the actual game came out, it didn't. I thought Far Cry 3 looked very, very good, but it didn't look quite the same as it did in the video. The main thing being VAS was changed, and we've seen this from things like Watch Dogs and just loads of games. I mean, to be honest, they are usually Ubisoft games from what I can remember in recent memory. Most recently, of course, there was The Witcher 3, people were saying got downgraded and things like that. But if the game comes out and it's really good, really, really good, then people aren't going to mind. Yes, we look at this now, and yes, it doesn't really look exactly that next generation. It's probably quite actually stuttery thinking about it, using a screen share system. But we have to wait and see. It's all it is. Look, it says it very clearly there. Look, we highlight that announcement trailer. Just an announcement trailer. That's all it is. It's not the game. It's not in its final state. We don't know. I mean, one of my best looking games out there is actually BioShock Infinite, and you might be like, well, that's not really that advanced. I can run that on 4K, but that's kind of what's good about it. It's a certain art style. And then it just means it ages really well, and it scales really well, and it looks good in a different way. I mean, we've got, like, say, Crysis 3, which is arguably one of the best looking games we've got at the moment. But the problem with that is that if you remember NVIDIA, when they were launching the I think it was the GTX Titan, they were talking, of course, about the uncanny valley, and how the uncanny valley basically means that after you get to a certain point of realism in video games, then things just start looking bad because they don't look real. They kind of just almost look a little bit scary. Now, this is why I kind of prefer games like BioShock Infinite. Another one, of course, is Borderlands as well, that has a certain style of graphics. And the advantage of using this is that they age better, and then you don't get this whole debate of people saying, it's been downgraded and things like that. But again, if we think about the Fallout 4 trailer, you've got to remember that we don't have anything to go on at the moment. And there is literally nothing to go on at the moment other than that video. So we've got really the only bit of the game we've seen, other than some voiceover that obviously isn't in the thing, and a tiny bit of narrative that we've seen. The only thing we've seen are the graphics they've shown us, which is why we often get these games companies showing us these games with improved graphics, and graphics that are going to work fine. If we imagine a big open world, they're showing off a very small chunk of it. That's all they've developed at the moment. And, it might work fine, and they do have good intentions. They don't intensively, they don't intentionally say to people, look, this is what the game's going to look like, knowing that it's not. That's not what they do. It's just the only thing we get to see from these reveals is maybe a tiny bit of a plot. We maybe see a game we haven't heard of before. But the main thing we see is, of course, the actual game itself. So the elements of the game, and that is the graphics. I mean, the graphics are the things we see, and so that's all we've got. So that's why people are going to moan and complain about those things, and I don't think it's going to stop anyone buying any of these games. You know, would it stop you buying these games? You know, there is a chat. You know, feel free to leave a comment, and obviously, you know, I can answer whatever queries you have. But you know, madness. It wouldn't stop anyone buying the game because it's not going to be out for a while, quite a long while. Probably it could be this year, more likely going to be next year. I'm sure they'll tell us. Was today actually the Bethesda thing? It's at 2 a.m. in British time, so I will not be watching that one live. But yeah, you know, it's not really a concern for people. Outside of that, I think we'd like to see Dishonored 2. I'm not sure whether we will or not. If they've got their own press conferences, they've obviously got a few things to show off. So it wouldn't surprise me if they had some sort of Dishonored 2 thing. But to be honest, there's quite a few different things they could be. They could even tease a new Skyrim thing. Well, Elder Scrolls thing. Very unlikely because they're working on the Elder Scrolls Online. Finally got that out for consoles now. So I'd say that's quite unlikely. They could always do a tease. I mean, if we remember what Uncharted did, was it last year or was it 2 years ago? I think it was 2 years ago when they just teased Uncharted 4 just by, look, Uncharted 4, that's it. That's all we know. So they may well do that again. We will have to wait and see. But the main ones are the Sony, the Microsoft, and the Nintendo ones. And really for us, really the most important one, of course, is the PC gaming show, where we will hope to see, well, we will see, they've said we're going to see it, the new AMD 300 series, and all sorts of leaked reviews and things out at the moment. But I don't believe any of these things. Wait until your proper favorite outlet has gone out and shown these things, because it's just almost clickbait in these cases. You know, like, AMD 300 series seriously overperforms, seriously underperforms, contradictory things, benchmarks where people can just easily change things. You know, I mean, there's been some leaked box art which actually has a load of typos in it, so it doesn't really isn't really likely to be launched in that state, so to say. So that's more than likely fake. Well, it is fake. If it's got typos on the box, it's bloody fake. So yeah, there's that, which we hope to see, and which we will see. Outside of that, it would be good to see what Microsoft are going to be doing with gaming, because if I said to you Games for Windows Live, you know, you'd probably just be like, I mean, the only real good thing about Games Windows Live, in my opinion, was the fact that you could at least have some form of communication with your Xbox 360 buddies. I mean, this wasn't party chat. This was just a sort of text chat. You'd get people inviting you to a party that you couldn't join, pointless things like that. It would break games in some cases. But, you know, it should be quite exciting, because I highly doubt they're going to come out and say, look, here's the Master Chief Collection for PC, because it's going to take a serious chunk out of the Xbox One market. But what they're trying to do is unify the Xbox brand as a whole, so that you get games that are available across different platforms and are cross-platform. You can play with your buddies on Xbox One. And I'm sure it's a dangerous game, but I'm sure if they did say, let's take Halo as the example here, if they did say, look, here's Halo 5, comes out, you know, 6 months early, you know, on Xbox One. It is going to come out on PC as well. But then they, you know, even if they've said I think they've said they won't, but even if they did start selling games like Halo through an Xbox store, that's the only way you can do it. And even if the only way to buy it was to pay £40, you know, for Halo 5, I still think it's more than worth doing. I mean, you've got to remember that these are guys now, but, you know, I mean, some of them will have quite a lot of PC experience for developing PC games. A lot of them necessarily won't have good PC experience, but at least give us the option, you know. I mean, how difficult is it really, especially with the release of DirectX 12 coming very soon, to actually start releasing games on PC and Xbox? Not very. So it's all about their marketing team and how well they want to sort of market their products and how they want to go about making money, because obviously that is what this whole thing is about. So it's going to be very interesting to see what they have to say anyway, because obviously they're going to be on stage at not just the Microsoft thing, but also the PC gaming one, which is being hosted by PC Gamer. Outside of that, I think there's a few new cases and things like that being announced, some smaller things that wouldn't normally be at a gaming show. This isn't Computex, so hopefully, this should be all about big bang things that are going to appeal to PC gamers that aren't avid enthusiast PC gamers, people that have a PC and treat it like a console, people that have a PC and don't really care too much if they're not running at the highest settings. People that are just playing on the PC platform because that's what they have. And if you think the majority of gamers on consoles are like that, they just have, as far as they're concerned, that's what plays the games. They put the disc in, they're away. So there's going to be people like that. So hopefully the PC gaming show should appeal to those sorts of gamers, as well as sort of gamers probably, more like me and you, that are really enthusiastic about water cooling our processors and things like that. It should be focused on the games rather than the hardware, but we'll probably see things like Steam machines details being finalized. All sorts of things should be pretty interesting. So that's a PC gaming show anyway. Now the next thing is the Microsoft show, and this is going to be the first big one that's going to kick us off, and hopefully this should be pretty interesting, and then be some good games. I mean, the Microsoft one actually last year was very, very good. The Gamescom one I got pretty upset about, to be honest. Their Microsoft conference at Gamescom, because of course they announced Tomb Raider and they said it's going to be only on Xbox. I mean, sure, it won't be exclusive for that long, but how annoying is that? What a waste of time watching that was. But no, last year the Microsoft press conference was pretty good. Since they've ditched their old sort of leader and they've got the new one, I think they're doing a lot better. I was thinking the other day as well about the whole Kinect thing. It's like, why on earth would they think that was a good idea? No one wants Kinect, okay? And yes, there's a few people, they do want Kinect. No, look, let's talk. Let's talk properly here. Everyone has Facebook. That's when I say everyone. That's everyone. No one wants Kinect, okay? Same way, everyone has Facebook. A few people don't have Facebook. No one wants Kinect. A few people want Kinect. No one wants Kinect. So why it was in their original plan to force it down people. I understand the fact that they wanted to be able to flog more Kinect games, but people don't want Kinect, so don't give us Kinect. Stupid. So the E3 conference will not be about Kinect. I imagine this year will very much be about actually about the games themselves, which is obviously what it should be. So what can we expect to see? Well, there's always exclusive games, so these are ones that are going to be coming. Maybe you might see one that's coming this year. Most of them will be coming next year, and then maybe a couple of them will be the year after. You always get some casual games. You always get some hardcore games. You also got some sort of franchise releases as well. We'll definitely see more on Tomb Raider. Something that could happen actually, if Xbox are trying to unify the platform, they could at the PC Gamer show maybe say something about Tomb Raider at the PC show. I don't know if that's too far-fetched. They've got an exclusive deal with Microsoft, so it would be pretty interesting if they came out and they said, look, we are bringing it to Xbox. It's going to come exclusively this Christmas, like they've already said, but it's going to be coming in February to PC as well. So if they do something like that, very interesting. Really will annoy me very, very much, and I'm sure it annoy you very much as well, is if they start talking about the whole PC thing as, you can do this on a PC by streaming from your Xbox One. Why would anyone want to do that? Why would anyone want to do that? You can spend £100 on a graphics card and get something that's better than an Xbox One. So why would you want to stream from one place to the other? I know, a lot of people have laptops, so yes, a laptop with an Intel or AMD integrated processor, yeah, the graphics going to be crap. Xbox One going to be better for that. But let's actually, be sensible here. This is a PC gaming show. This isn't about people that have a integrated graphics card now, is it? It's about people that actually want to start PC gaming. So there's going to be a few things. I'm not really sure what sort of franchise releases they'll be showing off other than Halo. I'm not sure how many people that are going to be watching this are particularly interested in Microsoft, Xbox One exclusive releases. But it's always good to see what's coming out, because remember, these things are probably going to be making their way to PC at some point as well. What's it called? The Xbox One exclusive one from last year, the one that was like your skateboarding Sunset Overdrive, that's the one. Sunset Overdrive. I imagine that'd be my guess, they're announced that for PC. Because as far as they're concerned, it's sold, not all of the copies, but it's sold most of the copies that it's going to sell, the large chunk. So now sell to the market, the PC market, that are going to pick up the games that are available for them, but they're not going to rush out and buy an Xbox One or anything like that. Same applies to Sony games, or a lot of Sony games that if they came to PC, people would pick up, but they're not the sort of games that people would go out and buy a PS4 for. So that's Microsoft conference anyway. If there's anything you are particularly looking forward to, leave it in the comments section over there. Remember, this is live, so if you want to ask anything, or you have anything you would like to contribute to the chat, then obviously feel free and let me know in the comments section. And yeah, that is pretty much. Oh, the comment section is there. That's really confusing. I'm looking now at the comments. Basically, in my comments, it's all blank. I've got a group chat thing there. That's clearly the wrong thing. And that's all blank. So I was wondering why there are no comments. So we go through some of the comments. Let's have a look. You're right so far with audio and video. Thank you very much. Red Dead game. Ooh, I mean, Rockstar don't normally tend to do things at these events. They pretty much tend to actually sort of go off on their own. And because they're so big, obviously that is something that they can go and do. You think GTA 5, they just had an announcements trailer for a very short amount of time, and then people went nuts for it. It took over the internet, and yeah, the rest obviously is history, and it's one of the best-selling games ever. If not, was it the best? It probably was the best-selling game ever. So can't really complain too much there. So yeah, I highly doubt they'd announce anything at E3. I'm not even sure if they're going to be there. NV, did I play NV? I probably know what you're talking about, but my brain's melting. I don't know what's NV. Tell me what NV is. So yeah, that's the Rockstar stuff. They won't announce anything remastered either, because they probably won't even be there. Still have to be Dishonored. Rumors for Elder Scrolls. I haven't heard any. Rumors there. But like I say, they're still trying to focus very much on getting the Elder Scrolls Online out to the consoles, and it's finally done now. So it'd be almost, it'd be good for us, but for them as a business decision, it would be pretty silly for them to actually come out and say, look, we've got the new Elder Scrolls game coming out like this year or something. So they may well announce something that's coming out in next year, a couple of years time, but it'll kind of be almost sort of like taking a back seat. They won't, if they're going to announce something like really big and really focused on it, I imagine it'll be something Elder Scrolls Online related. Is the NVIDIA GeForce 632 GB good? Not really, no. I mean, it's not really. Anything with a 50 upwards is going to be for gaming. If you've got a laptop or something, then it might be able to play some older games or some newer games that are less intensive at lower settings. But no, not really. You need to get something a bit more than that if you're trying to play games like The Witcher 3 or something like that. Beyond Good and Evil 2, no idea whatsoever. Could do. Never count anything out. But I haven't really heard anything too much there, to be honest. Another thing about Rockstar's game is they won't announce anything. Very unlikely. Yeah, Halo on PC. This is the thing, and I briefly touched on it when talking about the Microsoft conference. If they came out, it'd be ridiculous. It'd be absolutely ridiculous. It'd be outrage. They came out and said, look, here's Halo 5. It's coming up PC the same day as on Xbox. £70, $100. Outrage. People would still bloody buy it. Not saying they should do that. Obviously, that'd be ridiculous. But the point is, they could do it, and they would make an absolute crap ton of money, and people would still buy it. So yes, they really should do it, but they've got to be careful, again, from a business perspective, to actually release the Halo franchise in a way that it won't affect the sales on the Xbox One, because as soon as their focus goes too much on PC, and that's what they're going to be worried about. That's what the whole marketing guys are going to be crying about. If there's any sort of statement that gets taken out of context or anything like that, and there's suddenly it's like PC. Imagine if they accidentally said, this game, so it won't be, but we take Halo 5 again. Halo 5 is going to be best on PC. They were caught saying that. Literally, their PR marketing guys would lose it, because people are then going to start saying, well, why have I got an Xbox? Why have you sold me this thing for? And then the console people might start going over to PlayStation 4, and then people will start coming over to PC from Xbox. So basically for them, they're trying to get as much money as possible. And for them, the way to do that is to sell Xbox One hardware and sell Xbox One games. So they've got to be careful in the way they go about it. But they definitely should do it, because they would make a stupid amount of money. How was everyone else's day? I'm sure that's aimed at everyone else. My day been pretty uneventful. I left myself not enough time, and I'm doing the review at the moment for this thing here, LG G4. Ran out of time, sadly. Ran out of time, so I have to film that another day. So yeah, that was my day. Other than that, I had some lunch, tuna pasta, very nice. Yeah, back to what we were actually talking about. Fallout 4 will have a 2015 or 2016 release date. Depends on their other stuff. I mean, they're going to need something to come out this year. If I was going to take a punt, and I will take a punt, I'm going to say they'll come out. They say it's 2015, will get delayed till March, April next year. That's my guess, but that is literally just that. It's a guess. Microsoft have to stop releasing Xbox exclusives on PC if they want to keep up with Sony. Yeah, I mean, what they need to do now is shift from having Xbox One exclusives to Xbox exclusives. So Xbox covering Windows 10 and Xbox One. So if they start doing that, they should be making a lot more money. But yeah, no, I think that's very true. Very true. What conference am I most looking forward to? Depends who Ubisoft have, because if they have, I've completely forgotten her name. If they have that woman who always gets a bit zany, and then out of nowhere they start swearing, it's always quite funny. Probably for the wrong reasons, but it's always quite funny. I'm probably most intrigued to see how the PC gaming show is going to go down, because we haven't seen that before. And if you weren't watching this at the start of the stream, the thing I was saying about it is if they focus on having it as the same sort of style as the console ones, rather than come out and being a whole PC master race, then yeah, I think it will definitely be a very good conference. But other than that, Microsoft and Sony always like to watch. EA probably come out with Battlefield 5, something like that. If they release Halo on PC, obviously, yeah, definitely. Yeah, so more Halo PC. Elder Scrolls 6, I've already answered that. It's possible they'll announce it. Won't be for any time soon, though, because they're trying to keep focus on the Elder Scrolls Online for consoles that has just come out. New Vegas. Yes, New Vegas. My history of Fallout isn't exactly very good. In fact, it's pretty non-existent, unfortunately. I don't know what. There's probably something else at the time. I think I was working my way through the Mass Effects at the time. I hadn't played them when New Vegas came out. So, yeah, my Fallout history is pretty uneventful, unfortunately. But as soon as the next Fallout comes out, I'll be all over that. Elder Scrolls Online is actually very good now, something I've been hearing a lot, actually. It's just a simple case of if you're trying to charge a subscription for a game, it's not going to work this day and age. It's not going to work. What was the Secret World? I don't know if anyone here played that. I would have quite easily got into that if that was free to play at launch, because I played the what do you call it? The sort of beta, and I quite liked it. But I mean, they wanted money each month. It was never going to work, so I didn't play that. I'm going to take literally a 30-second break just quickly to go and get some water, because I've been talking for ages. 1 second. I would pause it, play an advert. Don't know how to do that. And I'm not going to waste time. 1 second. I wasn't long. I promised I wouldn't be long. No, it wasn't very long. Not very far. I got to go to the bathroom. Do you drink out of the tap? That's the question. Some people think it's absolutely revolting to drink directly out of a bathroom tap. No, it's absolutely. It depends on your country, I suppose. UK, absolutely fine. Knock yourself out. Right. Comments. Any rumours for Bully 2? There were some rumours, I believe. Not that recently. I heard them a while ago. I'm not sure if they were E3 focused, so they might have kind of fizzled out. Not sure. Not sure about that. Halo 5, yeah. If it was running DX12, which it would be if they were going to announce it, yeah, that'd be brilliant, wouldn't it? It comes out and say, look, here's DirectX 12, and we've got a game. You probably wouldn't have heard of it before. We've got a game coming out. It's going to, pardon me, it's going to take advantage of DirectX 12, and it's called Halo 5. Oh my god! Think of the sales. Think of the sales. Let's have a look. GTX 960 or R9 280X. At the moment, neither. Wait until AMD have released their new cards. I'm sure you won't buy it in the next few days anyway, but please no one buy a graphics card in the next few days. Prices are going to change regardless. So just wait and see what AMD have got. I would probably, based on that, I'd go with the 280X just because it's got that extra amount of VRAM, which we're seeming to need at the moment. That's the main reason I switched from two 680s to one 980. There just wasn't enough VRAM for modern games. No Man's Sky. Everyone seems to be a lot more hyped about that than I am. I like the concept. It just kind of didn't really grab me, so to speak. But it's just because you didn't really see what you would be seeing some more of that at the conference. Can a €350 desktop play GTA 5 on high settings? Completely depends what it's got in it. Starting price, I always say, is about £400, 420-ish pounds. That's normally what I look at the PC Centric budget rig. But €350 desktop at high settings, it depends what it's got in it. I can't answer that question without knowing what the specs would be. It won't be high, probably on low. Some settings on low. That was for the earlier. Was it the 630? Again, gaming graphics cards start at the 50 and up. If you're looking at NVIDIA cards, what am I looking at in the Steam Summer Sale? Basically, just Far Cry 4 because I didn't play that. This is going to probably sound quite bad, but the main reason I didn't play that was because they didn't actually send a review copy over, and that was over in review season, so I had games left, right, and center. So, if obviously I didn't really have time anyway, and I was probably annoyed because I bought because they didn't send a copy of Unity either. So I bought a copy of Unity, did the review, haven't played it since. So spent £30 on doing a review basically. So it wasn't like taking a stand or anything like that. It's just I've had other games to play and review since. I believe the chat is. Oh, the chat's big now. Chat's big. Where was I? I'll answer these a little bit quicker, and then we'll move on to the next section. I'll have it a bit more selective. Right. Okay. I think. Yeah, that's very true. Nintendo needs to do something very good this year. Absolutely. If Gabe Newell turns up at the PC Gaming Conference, that would be so good, wouldn't it? Don't know if he will. I wouldn't count it out. I would say, if anything, I would say more likely than unlikely. But I don't know. New Mirror's Edge. Again, didn't play Mirror's Edge 1 just because that was about the time I first got into like PlayStation 3 sort of era. So I'd only really played a little bit since I've got it in my Steam library. One of those games I bought and never really played. Can I just say, love all your videos. Thank you very much. Very kind. Hopefully, obviously, that's why you're here. Can you see this, Marcus? Yes, I can. Two 980s powering two 4K monitors. Need a third 980? No, you don't. It's not really going to make any difference to your frame rate, and in some cases, it's going to lose it. You'd just be throwing money at nothing. You'd be better off, if anything, probably changing out to two 980. Well, you would. You'd be better off selling them and getting two 980 Ti's. i5-44T at 3.1 is good for gaming. It's absolutely fine for gaming. It's not going to be as good as the 4670K, I believe. But yeah, no, it should be fine. Depends on your graphics card, of course. Okay, I think I've caught up. There we go. Right. Sony press conference. That was a very long comment section. So I'm now caught up with the chat. So E3 will start in at 2 a.m. British time with the Bethesda one that's kicking off today. So that is 8.5 hours away. Yes. So Sony conference. It's never going to be as good as when they started showing off their brand new consoles. I remember I did actually took a day off to watch E3 live. Good choice. Getting distracted now. Yeah, I stayed up at 2 a.m. and you can see that video. It's still on the channel, actually. I filmed a video about something stupid like 2:30, 3 a.m. or something, trying to keep it down because I had people in the house sleeping after the PS4 was announced. So yeah, that was that was fun. So Sony conference, Uncharted 4 will be the main focus, won't it? I mean, they've had the only real press they've had about it hasn't been great. It's been people leaving and going elsewhere. Of course, Amy Hennig, I think that is that her name. Of course, she left. She went somewhere else, as did loads of the other teams. So really, the only thing I've heard about Uncharted 4 wasn't great. They did unveil some gameplay, and then that wasn't particularly brilliant either. So yeah, they didn't do too well in that sense. Let's have a look. Let's get the Uncharted 4 gameplay up. Hold on a second. And then you actually have something to watch. There we go. And then that goes there. It'll probably be a little bit stuttery, I'm afraid. But yeah, so it looks okay, doesn't it? It doesn't look necessarily bad or anything like that. But it just doesn't look as good as people were hoping. But I mean, it's a PlayStation 4 game, and I actually think Destiny is one of the better looking games on next generation console. So it's never going to be 4K, super ambient occlusion, hyper threaded. Just throwing stupid words out there now. It's never going to be a graphical masterpiece when compared to something like The Witcher 3 at max settings at 4K. But they always do a good job, the art team, and it should actually end up being pretty damn nice. Gameplay wise, more of the same. People love Uncharted, and it's been such a long time since the last one. People aren't going to have a problem people aren't going to have a problem buying the game. They're going to get a lot of sales from it, regardless of how good it is, because it's got such a good name. But what we want to see is them taking the game a bit further, maybe exploring emotions a bit better, because obviously The Last of Us was their last sort of big game, and that sold a stupid amount, absolutely stupid amount. And that was partly because it did things that we hadn't really seen before in video games. It did things that pulled your emotions, tugs at your emotions, and it really is an iconic game, and it will be something people are talking about in many, many years to come. But I don't really know what else they could do other than just sort of build on what they've already got. But yeah, that's Uncharted 4. Anyway, it's going to be the main focus. It's going to be their big sort of, we need to sell this. And I think regardless of how good it's going to be, it's going to sell a stupid amount of copies, but hopefully it will be pretty good. So that's Uncharted 4. That's their main canon. What else have they got? Well, they could announce another Infamous game. That's always the thing. We're expecting to see God of War. Maybe I know they're doing the whole remastered stuff. I'm not sure if I know it got leaked. I'm not sure if it definitely got announced in the end. But there might be a new God of War game. So actually, not just a remastered, actually a brand new game, which is again something we'd like to see. But what they really need to do is basically come out with some new IP that really hammers home how good PlayStation is. Because you think what we've had really so far, the most notable one really is the Order 1886, and that was amazing from a graphical point of view, but was pretty. It wasn't not well received by the average Joe, but it didn't do brilliant when it comes to reviews. And that was mainly just because it was seen as something that's amazing for graphics, but not much else. Again, if we're talking Microsoft, you've got to think Rise. So I think for both Microsoft and Sony, actually, the thing they're going to have to do is get new IP out there that is, the Last of Us quality. Something the Halo quality, something that really is going to say, look, this is the best place to play, because they say that so easily. And obviously, us PC gamers straight away was like, obviously, no, it's not. But the most notable thing I think PlayStation's done in recent months to sell PlayStation has actually been their PlayStation Music, where they've synced up with Spotify, and I think that's really good. And essentially, it's just turned the PlayStation 4 into a Spotify Connect device. So I use that all the time now downstairs in the lounge. PlayStation can either be playing a game or just open on Spotify, and then you can be using it to play Spotify music. So yeah, it's not exactly a standout game, but it's a feature that I actually now use my PlayStation for. If that feature hadn't come along, I probably wouldn't have turned it on, other than watching a few films. And now I've hooked on Destiny again. So things like that are the things that Microsoft first hinted at when they originally announced the Xbox One and turning it into a media center, and it all kind of links together. So yeah, the main thing they need is games, because having Spotify is not really particularly significant for a games console. So yeah, something outside the usual IP anyway. I'm sure there'll be a few surprises, but like I say, main focus for the Sony one will be Uncharted 4, a few remasters. Hopefully they won't go on about it too much. If something, we need like a Crash Bandicoot replacement. Knack again, one of their games that they came out and said, look, this is the new Crash Bandicoot. Without, obviously they didn't say it, but it was from the same developer really that did Crash Bandicoot. He went out and said this would be your average user's second purchase, and it went down again okay to the average user, but again didn't do amazingly well in reviews. So we get something like Crash Bandicoot, that'd be great. If we got the actual Crash Bandicoot, that would be even better, because obviously people, especially PC gamers like ourselves, we love Crash Bandicoot. We probably grew up, a lot of us, with Crash Bandicoot, or if we're maybe slightly older, maybe where our children played Crash Bandicoot and we got in it and played it with them. So it'd be good to see some of the old classics back as well. So yeah, that's the Sony conference anyway. I've said this before, but reminder that I will be doing a sort of live stream after every single event, apart from the ones that are at 2 a.m. So the Bethesda one, unfortunately, the PC gaming one, I won't be doing one straight after. I'll be doing one next day, because by the time that finishes, it'll be 4 a.m. The stream will take probably roughly an hour, give or take 15 minutes. And then it will be ridiculous o'clock, and I have to get up at 7 for work. So sadly, that's not an option. But after the Microsoft one is the first one, there'll be a reactions sort of live stream, just like this, where we can all go through and actually have a look at stuff that is going on. Now, before we move on to the other press conferences, let's have another look at the comments. It's difficult to remember where I was. E3 starts at 11. Bethesda one, I don't think it does. Or at least my conversion tool told me otherwise. Most of these things are about components. How long am I going to be streaming? Till I'm done. I've got a not very detailed notes section. I wrote this in about 20 seconds because running low on time. That's my notes. That's what I have to talk about. So not particularly detailed. Bethesda has an exclamation mark next to it. So I've got that. So yeah, I've done PC, done Sony, done Microsoft. So it's just Nintendo, and then I'll briefly mention Ubisoft and EA as well. Someone wants to be noticed. Dan Andrews wants to be noticed. Apparently some trolls. Just standard chat now, isn't it? Standard chat. Hi, PC Centric from Mr. Mighty Llama. That is Mr. Oliver Gracie. No, I'm not going to say that. Don't worry. If you're, yeah, and then we're caught up. Yeah, so then we've also got the Nintendo one. I've never really been that interested in this, but I mean, they might come out and they might say, look, this is our new hardware. It might have some new hardware to talk about, which would be pretty interesting. I mean, I'm sure we'd all want to see that. What do you think about the leak of Dishonored 2? Like I said again at the start of this video, other than headlines, I tend not to look too much into the leaks, just because I like to kind of keep it a bit fresh for the press conferences. But yeah, it seemed pretty inevitable that Dishonored 2 was going to be announced by Bethesda, because they're doing a press conference, so they need something to talk about. So yeah, this Dishonored 2, I liked the first one a lot. It'd be good to see the second one. But yeah, Nintendo. So the hardware side of things, they might come out and give us some new hardware, which really they do need to do, because no one's buying a Wii U anymore. No one's buying a Wii U. If you look at the sales figures, just not very good at all. Yeah, it's not hard to see why. It's old tech with a terrible name. I mean, the majority of Wiis, this might be completely wrong, but I don't think it is. The majority of Wiis were probably bought by parents, so people getting it for their children. And if they don't know what a Wii U is, they cannot do that. There's been all sorts of things that have stopped Nintendo doing particularly well recently. They said they won't talk about the new system. Well, if they don't, I don't know what they're going to have to talk about, really. Because no one has, not relatively speaking, not that many people who have a Wii U, and yeah, if they don't, then I think that's silly. If they don't, I think that's silly. But we have to wait and see. They might, could surprise us. We don't really know. But yeah, that's Nintendo. I don't have too much to say. And what is there to say about Nintendo? They've got some very good IP, some of the best IP around, but it just gets a little bit boring when that's all they have to talk about every single year. And the thing that we would be interested in is Nintendo came out and they said, look, here's some new hardware. Something that'd be quite cool is imagine if Nintendo came out with a product that had different graphics cards. So you had almost, imagine, I'll use some props here. You've got an easy learning Italian console. This is your console, okay? And then you've got a port in it, and then you can put you plug different things into it. This probably looks ridiculous. And then basically you've got almost like a low-powered unit, and that would do low settings. You've got a medium-powered unit, you've got a high-powered unit, and it might say on different boxes that you need this to play this game. Probably get a little bit complicated, but the point there being that it would be okay for the people that just wanted to use these unique peripherals and do a different sort of gaming. But then if people did want to buy something like Zelda, or something properly hardcore, like Call of Duty. I know, might not like Call of Duty, but the point is loads of people do. And the point is, if there was equality between Xbox, PC, PS4, and Nintendo, then you'd be able to get games on all of them, and people then wouldn't really care too much about which platform they were playing it on. Because obviously at the moment, if you buy... well, it mattered more. To be fair, let's say Xbox 360, PS3, the differences in quality between games didn't really make any difference at all. You say take Red Dead Redemption. We were talking about that earlier. You wouldn't really care whether you got that on PS3 or Xbox 360 because there's parity between the systems, and that's just what Nintendo need. I know they say that's not what they need, but that is definitely what they need. They need people to be able to buy, people that can buy one console, to not have to choose between this cool new controller and all their friends and all their games on a different platform. They need to do something about that, and the Wii U shows that it just didn't work, and they just need to change that. So that's Nintendo anyway. They'll probably do something about Zelda because they've been meaning to talk about it for a while, but I mean, there was maybe one point I would have bought a Wii U, because Zelda was coming out. But, say Zelda comes out, say it's the most amazing game people have ever played. It's The Last of Us quality. is that console was The Last of Us. Still wouldn't buy a Wii U because what after that? You've got Mario Kart, you've got Mario, you've got that. That's about it. That's about it. It's like really don't care too much, to be honest. And I wouldn't buy a Wii U just based on one game because I don't think they've got anything else. And I don't think I'd be using it. I don't really use my PlayStation 4. Really don't think I'd be using my Wii U. You have some mates around playing a bit of Mario Kart. Could quite easily just do that with something like Mortal Kombat. Doesn't really matter. GameCube was more powerful than PS2, but no system seller though. Yeah, I mean, it's partly game library as well, though, wasn't it? I mean, the problem with the GameCube was that it was controller based, and a lot of games. No, I don't know what I'm talking about really. I don't know. It wasn't marketed as well really, and this was at the time where sort of PlayStation 2 was just the thing, and it was the best selling console ever. So they were a bit unlucky there really, and that's why they needed the Wii to come out with a different controller, take sort of the market away from these consoles, and it worked, but it doesn't work twice clearly. I don't know what's going on in the chat. I'm not gonna. If I had staff, I would get them to have a look, but I don't have staff, so I have to deal with it. Okay, and then the last couple of conferences are. For a lot of people, they're always some of the best ones because they are, of course, the Ubisoft and EA ones, so they are not platform restricted. You do get a couple of times where you might get a game that's more marketed through pre-order DLC, exclusive features to one console. But let's be honest, people are going to get just as excited. It doesn't matter what platform you have. Battlefield. Now, it's no stranger, I'm sure, to you guys, especially if you've seen the casual plays. I'm a big fan of Battlefield 4, liked Hardline, but thought Hardline, if you're going to play a game, I'll just play some Battlefield 4. Hardline wasn't needed other than the campaign, which I really liked. But I don't think there's any more single-player DLC for that, which is sad, because that's the thing I would actually play. Yeah, that's going a bit off topic now. So yeah, basically, I'd like to see a new Battlefield. That's the point I'm making there. If a new Battlefield proper one, they've got it. Let's be honest. It's more than likely they will come out and say, "Look, here's Battlefield 5." We starting to get into stupid numbers now. People want to gonna buy things like Battlefield 12? Probably not. Well, with FIFA, I suppose, and Madden. So Battlefield 5. Basically, I don't want to see the Battlefield 3 to 4 jump. I want to see the Battlefield 2 to Battlefield 3 jump. Or I'm sure actually what isn't completely far-fetched, and again, people would go mad for this, is if we got another Bad Company. Comments. Do you want to see, what would you rather see? That's what I want to know. That's your question. Would you rather see Bad Company 3 or would you rather see Battlefield 5? I'm not really that fussed actually, but I'd probably rather see a Bad Company because we haven't had one in a while. I used to love Battlefield, what was it? Bad Company 2 Vietnam. I used to love that. It was brilliant. I think that's when Battlefield almost was at its sort of heyday, and then it went to Battlefield 3, still got a bit bigger, and it's kind of just done that a little bit, and Hardline done that a little bit. And then, of course, the EA's big thing, and some of you are mentioning in the comments, is, of course, Battlefront. And here, the main problem, really, I think they have with Battlefront is that it has to be good. I mean, I'm sure that this is something that, obviously, a lot of developers have. But, yeah, it has to be good, because if it doesn't, it will just... I mean, what we think about, what we had recently, game-wise, for Star Wars, we've had The Force Unleashed, which... but they were okay. They were way too short for a start. Definitely had some flaws, but it didn't really do the Star Wars franchise, if you like, for games any good. Then, of course, we had Old Republic, which people liked. He's using the subscription, dropped the subscription, and then it did start to do a lot better, and I think it's still got a following today. But when Star Wars Battlefront comes out, it has to be good, because think about it, it's been marketed as basically Battlefield but Star Wars. Okay, so both bits of those are already awesome. You've got the Star Wars bit, which is mental. Then you've got the you've got the Star Wars bit, and then you've got the Battlefield bit. So both bits by themselves have done very, very well. And of course, the previous Battlefield games have also done very well, to the point where people still play them today. So yeah, they're going to have to be good. It's like the most recent. Thinking about it? Do you remember the James Bond games? You remember Nightfire? You must remember Nightfire. That's the main one. So EA released a load of good, very good James Bond games. That was essentially my childhood, was playing all the James Bond games. And then Quantum of Solace came out, taken over by Activision. And in some ways, yeah, I mean, the gameplay was probably a lot better, but it just lost all of that charm. It lost its uniqueness. It was just another first-person shooter. So in that sense, I don't think it did James Bond games, in a sense, any good. And, where are James Bond games today? Nowhere, because we had a couple of bad releases. And so that's what I'm slightly concerned about. Exactly. If Star Wars Battlefront is bad, you'll be sad. Gun. Don't do it. Don't do that. That'd be very sad. Be very sad. But yeah, no, literally, they can't afford to cock it up. So pressure is on for them, really. But what they've got, the assets they've got to work with, are very good. So hopefully there won't be too much of an issue there. Going back in the comments section for a second. It's pretty mixed, actually, isn't it? Battlefield 5, Bad Company 3 for sure. Yes, Bad Company 3. I hated Bad Company. Battlefield 5, Bad Company 3. So pretty 50-50. Yeah. I want new IPs and new gameplay mechanics. Yeah, don't we all? Don't we all? And if they do well, then, brilliant. But if they don't do so well, we're looking at the Order 1886, which is we're gonna run into some problems. So that's EA's main sort of library anyway, is the Battlefront and the Battlefield. We've got the usual sort of FIFA, Madden sort of stuff. Again, EA needs some IP. I think they need some new IP, because then that would actually do them some good. But I say they need to. EA are probably one of the few companies that maybe, if anyone don't need to, they don't need to. Sure, some of their IP is getting a little bit tired, but they've got Battlefront coming, so their financials are, trust me, they're going to be absolutely fine this year. That's not going to be a problem for them. And then lastly, it's just the Ubisoft conference. Ubisoft. Right, here's the thing. Far Cry 2 was probably the PlayStation 3 era game that, aside from The Last of Us, which came out at the very end, so we're not really counting that. Far Cry 2 was my game, okay? That's the bread and butter. I loved it. People didn't like the fact that it was a bit mad, in the sense that you could go through a checkpoint, kill everyone, come back 2 seconds later, and they're all back. People hated that. I didn't. I loved that. I thought it had a certain charm about it that I really, really liked. So that was my game. And then Far Cry 3 came out a few years later. Really excited for it. Loved it. Had so much charm, so much going for it, so much to do. Really, really loved it. It was excellent. Then they kind of just, in my opinion, they ruined it a little bit. Far Cry 4, well, it's more or less the same game, slightly different setting. Here you go. I would have rather, and I haven't played it to this day. I've said earlier, it came out at a time where loads of other games were out. I didn't get a review copy, so I didn't get around to playing it. But, I still haven't bought it today. I mean, it's 14th of June, and the game came out, maybe 7 months ago, and I haven't got around to playing it. I'll probably pick it up in the Steam sale. But, this is the thing. If you keep churning out a franchise, people are just going to get a bit upset. And then exactly the same thing, is happening with all sorts of games. We like movies as well, these remakes and things like that. We just need some more fresh stuff. And we need the fresh stuff to be good and to pay off. Developers can't use the whole thing with, we're still getting used to these new consoles. They might come out and say, we're getting used to DirectX 12. You're getting paid to do this, right? Developers get a bit too much slack in my eyes, because I think there's a massive team working on these games. It's their job to do a very good job. And yes, when things, there's a lot of time developers are unfairly treated, but you can't keep blaming, stuff on, we didn't see that the we didn't see that the overheads are going to be too great. Well, why don't you overestimate or something? Anyway, annoying. Back on topic. Yeah, so they'll probably announce Far Cry 5. That would be my guess. Probably coming out. I wouldn't. Not coming out this year. Not coming out this year. Very unlikely. If they do, I will cry, because then it will just be Far Cry 4 all over again. Don't want it. I want something new. Want it original. Want it to be bloody good. Okay. Far Cry is it means something to me. Do not cock it up. Right, rant over. Far Cry 3 was the best. You say Far Cry was really good. Yeah, exactly. Far Cry 4 is the Far Cry 3 but in the Himalayas. Exactly. It's the same game. I don't want the same game. I want something new. Want something original. Best game is Peppa Pig. The graphics are so good. I can't say I've seen it, mate. Can't say I've seen it. Yeah, sorry about that. I noticed Mr. Mighty Llama is in the comment section. I know for a fact what he would like to see is Cupboard Simulator 2015. He loves Cupboard Simulator. It's basically a game where you're in one room and you can't leave the cupboard. He knows all about that. I'll let him explain in the comment section what's that's all about. He's trolling you, so don't take the bait. Yes, Ubisoft conference. I went off on one there. Ubisoft conference. So yeah, Far Cry, pretty safe. They're definitely going to focus on oh god, what's it called? Of the Division, because that's been again original IP. Just what? Why wouldn't you just have a sensible release date? And then what? Because the thing is, people were really excited for that game. If they had maybe announced that a bit later on, then they could have used that time to keep the hype, because I think the hype now is gone. I mean, again, let me know in the comment section below. What Division? Are you hyped for it? I'm certainly not. Anyone particularly hyped for it? I don't think I'm particularly. Well, I'm not hyped for it, and I don't. My guess would be that people aren't exactly hyped for it, just because it's been delayed. And if it gets delayed too many times, no one cares about your game anymore, no matter how good it's probably going to be. What else have they got in their library? Well, I'm sure there'll be new IP, and they've had time to stop kind of thinking about next generation. I think 2 years ago it was all, these are going to be our next generation console releases. Year after is, look, these are our next generation consoles that are now going to be released very quickly. And then I think this will be the year where they probably will start announcing some new games. Outside of that, not really too sure. But I mean, that's the whole charm of E3. You don't really know what's coming. If we knew everything that was coming, if everything got leaked, it would just be incredibly boring. You know, I mean, it's like when smartphones get leaked, but they're a few days before they're released. Well, what is there to talk about now? You just ruined it. Don't ruin everyone else's fun. Don't ruin everyone else's fun. So yeah, I think that's Ubisoft. Don't really know too much. Haven't heard too many rumors. The main thing is going to be Far Cry probably, and focus on the Division. There might be talk of maybe taking the Crew a bit further or something, because that was quite a good idea. Yeah, that's pretty much. Pardon me. That's pretty much Ubisoft, and that is pretty much the hype. I think that's pretty much the hype for E3. I think that's it. This is the time. If you have any questions or about E3, now's your chance. Put them in the chat now. We will continue this till 15:15. We've got 10 more minutes, so. If you have any questions, please ask away. We'll dedicate this to comments section time. I noticed some sort of thing going on in the chat. I'm not getting involved. Like I say, Mr. Mighty Llama is a personal friend of mine and is a troll, so don't take the bait. If that's what he's doing, he might not be. He might not be doing that. Prince of Persia game, yes. Would very much like to see a new Prince of Persia game. I get. What are you doing? Sorry. Comments, making me laugh. Prince of Persia game. Be good to see something that's a bit more original. I mean, think the original Prince of Persia game did something I haven't really seen before. Was very interesting concept. It's you need to take things further. Keep taking it further, but you also need to then sort of go back and revisit stuff. And that's in some ways what Assassin's Creed Unity was trying to do. What they say, what they were trying to do. And yes, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't work, but yeah, it's a shame when things don't work out, but we definitely need some more sort of innovation anyway. People are asking about the E3 schedule, so have a look. Polygon, I got an article. Let's have a look. Share this with you. There you go. There you go. So this is the schedule. So you see today. Is that? Boom, boom, boom. That's the whole host of stuff. But you can see there the Microsoft conference times. They're not in the UK. This is poor. This isn't what I wanted at all. But you can see the order at least. Anyway, we've got Microsoft talking. Bethesda is today. Not a very good time for us in the UK. Microsoft, believe that is 5:30 p.m. Yeah, 5:30 p.m. Then we've got Electronic Arts, quite a few, 3.5 hours later. So that would be, there's a link. That would be 9 o'clock in the UK. Ubisoft is a bit later on, 2 hours later, so at 11 o'clock. So I'll be doing a stream after each of these three. So Ubisoft, Electronic Arts, Microsoft, each of these three will be like, we'll have some reactions. Again, probably about an hour long for each one, depends how much they show. And then the Sony one's too late. So I'll be talking about that in combination with some other stuff on the Tuesday. Do one on the Tuesday, and then again it's too late, the PC gaming one, so we'll have a live stream separately on Wednesday at probably about 6 o'clock, but I'll schedule that anyway. You should all see all the live stream schedules, so I wouldn't worry about that. It'll be at the top of your subscriber feed when you go onto YouTube, so you know what time the events are going to be. Comments? Any new comments? Any new comments? Give me a shout out. Say my name. It's Josh. It's Joshua Solomon. Joshua Solomon. He's wanted a shout out for a while. Not saying anything. Not saying anything. What else is going on? Prince of not much. Not much. Not much. Look, there was the first link. Don't never go me click on Polygon. That was the first one that came up. All right. Wish you had the UK accent. Well, you know, it's not too late. It's not too late. It's always quite funny when people go to other countries. Dear old lady, actually, used to work with at my supermarket job. Deirdre, her name was. She was Irish, but she lived in the UK and she lived in America. So she has a whole host of accents that come out. It's very amusing. Deirdre, love Deirdre. She's the best. Shout out to Deirdre, never thought that would happen. AAA titles getting too boring. They are, yeah, definitely. I mean, you've got your epic ones that people, everyone has their unique IPs that they really like. What do you think about there being more remastered games? Think new IPs compared to last year? Well, yeah, I mean, it's all very good if you like the game, but I mean, right, it's very simple. Do you want God of War remastered or do you want a new God of War game? Pretty obvious, isn't it? I mean, maybe they could do them separately and they could be a special edition. That'd be good pre-order DLC. If they want to do pre-order DLC, which I'm sure a lot of companies still want to do. If you want to do pre-order DLC, give us a remastered edition of an old game that would essentially you sell for 20 quid. Give us that as pre-order DLC. That would be all right. I mean, one of the best pre-order DLCs I remember is the Hitman Sniper Challenge. Still not really probably worth pre-ordering it for, but it was, yeah, I quite like that. That was quite neat. Still don't recommend pre-ordering games because you don't know what you're getting. This is a whole host of trolling going on. Can i5 4690 overclocked and a GTX 980 play 1080p? Yes, no problem. That's what it's all about. Generally speaking, GTX 950, 960, anything with is there a 950? I don't think there is a 950. Anything like, so a GTX and then a number, so 6, 7, 9, and then a 50 or a 60 is aimed at 1080p, 70 is aimed at 1440p, and then an 80 or above, so like a Titan or 980 Ti, is aimed at Quad HD and 4K gaming. What sort of music do I listen to? I can show you my library if you want. Everything. If you want to know a good little artist, I will link you. I will send you a link to one of the local bands. He hasn't paid me or anything. I just I see him down the pub all the time. He's very good. His name's James Tackington, and his band name is Fugitive Orchestra. I'm sure he'd love a shout out. I'll show you his channel. He writes some of his own music. Very talented, and he's very good bloke actually as well. It was quite funny the other day. Very funny the other day actually. Yeah. I can't contain links. Well, not really fair, really, because I should be able to do it. I will just have to. I'll just have to type it in. Fugitive Orchestra. Bang that into. I'll probably spelled that wrong. Bang that into YouTube, and then you can see some cool music. He has his own little board that he makes himself. So he can do like reverbs, and I don't know much about it. I sound stupid if I'm talking about it. Yeah. So yeah, he's pretty cool. Opinion about the new Batman game? Haven't got a copy yet. Hopefully, should be getting a copy next week. Batman is my thing. Love Batman. So there will be a review on this channel. Let me assure you there. As soon as I can get it out. Really. I mean, yeah. How do I feel about UK leaving the EU? Well, that's not really E3 related. I suppose it doesn't hurt to say. I say actually probably, which is quite a sensible thing. I don't know the figures. People have all sorts of opinions about whether we should and shouldn't. Thing is, look, before you moan about all the politicians making these decisions for you, remember why they're there. Because, you know, I am someone that works 9 till 5 in an office, all knowing quite a lot about technology and doing technology stuff. Okay, that's my thing. That's my specialty. You know, that's what I want. I want people to end up respecting my opinion on something because I feel I know a lot about it, which is what politicians do about the stuff they do. So not really too sure whether we should leave the EU. There's loads of reasons for, loads of reasons against, but I do not have the figures, so I don't know how it affect our country. So I choose not to have much of an opinion on that. So yeah, if that's why I think that. Do you think the Division will be another Watch Dogs? I think they've probably delayed it so that it isn't, and when it comes out, it needs to be pretty perfect for Ubisoft to keep their respect. I'll play it. Don't get me wrong. I'll play it. Could potentially be very good, but it's difficult to say. Again, when I had about one view at the very beginning of the stream, I was talking about the Fallout 4 trailer and about how people were moaning about the graphics about that. And the main reason people moan about that is because they all have to go on is the graphics, which is why you shouldn't mislead people in the first place by having graphics that are better. But assets are constantly changing. If you've ever done any sort of developing, you'll know that things change all the time. And so it's very difficult to sort of know, which is why when you're showing off your game at E3, please show off something that you know is going to be in the final game, or at least have some big sort of text that says, I know they often do, but it's often right at the end, just have some sort of text that says, this is not going to be final representative of, the product sort of thing. I mean, try not to mislead people. But I think the main real thing is it's mainly just a lot of people complaining. But here the question is, how many people buy a game based solely on the E3 trailer? And next to nobody. Watch Dogs got people excited. The point of the trailers is to build hype, and that's what they need to do. Right, this is your last call. This is your last call for comments. Last call for comments. We'll be wrapping up this stream very shortly. Time for me now is 18:14. I will be closing the comments and closing the stream at 17. So you've got 2 or 3 minutes. But like I said, we'll be here tomorrow. And can we stop the stuff in the comments, Mr. Mighty Llama? You're embarrassing yourself. Right. Let's have a look. Okay. It's almost as if like loads of trolls from Reddit have joined the chat. That's almost what it's like. Okay, so we have one sensible question which I've answered. How long do you think a 760 and an i5 last me? Well, I think it should get better with DirectX 12. I mean, the thing is, the 700 series, I believe, only have part support for DirectX 12, whereas the 900 series have complete support. So maybe not as long as you had originally anticipated, but I don't think it'll be a problem for you, really. Don't think it'll be a problem for you. comments. Well, oh yeah, the music. What sort of music do you listen to? The only sort of music I've ever got almost from video games is I did do quite like the band Poets from the Fall. It's Max Payne 2. If you remember, the end song of that got loads of people into it. That's pretty cool. Other than that, I like a lot of soul music. Actually, I listen to a lot of soul. So Otis Redding, Bill Withers, that sort of thing. Barry White, all that sort of thing. That's mainly what I listen to, but a whole host of stuff. Big into my lossless music as well. Should be upgrading the setup very soon as well. Let's have a look. What do you think of the new GTA V set DLC? Haven't played it. Do you think Doom will be similar to the older games? I think it needs to be. I mean, in not obviously graphics wise, but in the sense that, you know, for once have a game that doesn't have regenerating health be quite nice, and then just a bit more exploration and make it a bit more you know, where you actually have to explore, you know, the environment rather than just a couple of take Call of Duty for example, where you have what do you call it, change the intel. It hardly gives you a reason to look around the map and stuff, does it? Right, I'm freezing the comments. Freezing the comments is 17. Which color switch to go for someone who's never owned a mechanical keyboard before? If in doubt, go brown. It's a mixture, if you like, between blues, which are best for typing, and reds, which are best for gaming. I know some people say, well, no, I prefer this, but generally speaking, that's the way it works. Brown is in the middle. I would go brown, but if you can, go out and try some in a shop. You should be at least even if it's not the keyboard you want, you might be able to find a keyboard that uses similar switches. Shout out to Niamus. Is that how you say it? Niasmus. Sorry. Anyway, I give you a shout out. Small chance of Half-Life 3. There is a small chance. Yeah, it's so difficult to know. I mean, if they don't, the thing is, I guess you don't need to announce Half-Life 3 at E3, so which is why it probably won't happen. Same with Grand Theft Auto 5. When that was released, they didn't need a big platform. Just one video on YouTube destroys the internet. Minecraft 2. I don't know if it's the sort of game you need a Minecraft 2. They could just almost be like a big update and call it something. It's almost like I think almost having Minecraft 2 would almost ruin the name. They just need to almost go with it. 970 or 770. Well, if you can afford it, go for the 970. Most anticipated game for 2015 is actually Batman, which comes out in a week and a half. Easy. I'm a massive Batman fan, so that's my game. I haven't looked at any of the trailers, haven't looked at any of the gameplay or anything like that. Kept it as pure as I can, just because I want to go in. Just, you know, I absolutely love the previous game, so that's my most anticipated game. But I'd also quite like to play a new Battlefield game, and of course the Battlefront game. And I think that's it. Have a look. Yes, I think that's it. Witcher 3 is very good. Witcher 3 is very good. Right. Comments is now minimized. Cannot see the comments anymore. That wasn't too bad. An hour, 20 minutes. Yeah, needed to go for a drink of water. Other than that, hopefully, thought it went quite well. So let me know. What do you think this stream? How do you want it to change next time? I'd love to have some professional sort of suite of software that I can start showing game trailers and stuff at the same time as well, and they're not completely laggy, but I have to wait for another day. Thank you so much for sticking with the stream, whether you've been here 5 minutes or whether you've been here for an hour and a half. It means a lot. Hopefully it's been beneficial to you anyway. This will be archived, not if you want to watch it again, but the main thing is that there will be more streams every day for the next couple of days, so we can talk everything E3 without having to do one of those classic sit-down videos that are less interactive than ones where you have comments. So thank you so much for sticking with the stream. Thank you so much for sticking with the channel as always. I will set the time now. Let's have a think. Well, depends what time the Microsoft one finishes, and I've got to get some food as well. Let's think. The stream tomorrow will probably be around about 8:30. 8:30, anywhere between 8 and 9. I'll schedule it, I think, for 8:30, 8:30 p.m. Great British time. So 3 hours after the start of the Microsoft press conference, and that will be the next stream. So thank you so much for checking out this stream. As I say, thank you so much for joining, being a great audience, and hopefully I'll see you tomorrow.